get started, and before I introduce myself and a little bit more about what I do and my story, my her story, I want you guys to do a little exercise. Everybody's been exercising, and I know it's before lunch, but I want you guys to stay energized. We're just going to do something, a little bit of affirmation, okay? So I just need you guys to clap twice and say amazing. And now wait a minute. Before you do this, I don't want to see any of this amazing. No. I got to see your armpits, okay? I want to say amazing, okay? Are you guys ready? We'll try it together. And you got to yell out amazing, okay? This is how you do it. Because this is, do a little power pose also. It's clap, clap, amazing. All right? You guys got to do it. Amazing. Show your armpits. Throw your head up in the air, all right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Amazing. Now, I didn't hear you guys as loudly as I wanted to, so y'all got to do it just a little bit louder, okay? All right, one more time, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Amazing!
All right, don't y'all feel amazing? Look at the person next to you and say, you are amazing. You are amazing. All right, look to the other side and say, you are fabulous. So, you know, even if I told you to do it, doesn't it feel good to hear it back? Doesn't it? Yeah, that's a little affirmation that I do when we're with my company. So I'm going to start out with my story, but before I start, I wanted to ask, when you guys were younger, did you know what you really wanted to do and be when you grew up? Anybody say yes or no? You can go up to the microphone. Frankie here is going to give you a little something if you can answer. Did you know what you wanted to be when you grew up? She's got a little something. She's got gifts. We've got gifts today. We're going to give out some gifts. If you can say, you can come up. I'm just going to call my cousin, Jed Lee, because we haven't seen each other in years, and we saw each other here. Jed Lee, please tell me, did you know what you wanted to be when you grew up? I know what you used to brush my hair and braid my hair when we were little.
What did I want to be when I grew up? As a kid, I wanted to be a flight attendant, but did not have the height for it. But yeah,
So you wanted to be a flight attendant. And
today I work for a great company, ING, and I'm a proud single parent.
Yes.
So I have a 15-year-old son, and motherhood is, I think, something that's very
good for you. So you wanted to be a flight attendant, and you became something else. All right. Anybody else?
Here. I always wanted to become a jet fighter.
Jet fighter?
Jet fighter. Yeah.
Pilot?
Wow.
Like
Pilot.
a jet fighter pilot? Oh my
But
God.
like her, genetics got in the way. Sorry for that.
You're not telling us. You know, they should really get rid of this height thing.
No, it's just not the height, also the vision, because you need a 20/20 vision
yeah.
as well.
I'm not sure we can do anything about that.
That's true.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you. Get a little something. One more. Okay, go. Yes.
Because Attorney Tonet become government, did she will plan on that?
Who plans to do this? Yeah. What did you want to do?
No, I actually wanted to become president of this country.
You can
Amen.
do it. We will vote for you. Yes. Yes, you can do it. All right. Well, thank you so much for answering that. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. One more. There's one
Okay,
more.
when I was a kid, I want to be a doctor.
You wanted to be a doctor?
Not yet.
You still have time.
On the way.
All right. Great. Sure, one more.
One more, you guys.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be also to become a doctor,
A
but
doctor.
then I become a lawyer.
Still good. All right. Great. Well, that's very interesting because so did I. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Monica Maralit. I'm Senior Vice President for PSG Global Solutions and our sister company, Find HR, or Find Human Resources. As Richard said, we did grow quite a bit over the past few years. When we had pre-COVID, just before COVID, we were just about 1,500 people, and now we're about 4,000 people strong. And what we do is recruiting services and recruiting support. We support the U.S. as well as here in the Philippines. And it's been an interesting ride. 65% of our employees are women. 65% are women. Yeah, you can give us. We didn't even do that on purpose. We didn't do that on purpose, but it is a great venue for myself to be able to support other women, to mentor other women, and to rise them up, which is one of my biggest advocacies. And so I've been in the BPO industry and outsourcing industry for over 25 years. I know that I'm starting to tell my age, but that is okay because as the other doctor said, we should not be afraid of our age. I am almost 48 years old. That'll be next month. I'll be 48. And I'm not trying to support the products, but I actually do use those products. Neostrata, I use it for my neck. Look at that. I mean, my gosh, it works. Does it not work? And I started my 25-year career, over 25-year career at Citibank, and then again moved into the BPO industry. But that was not the plan. So as a lot of you guys said, you are in a particular industry or work that's not what you planned on, and neither was it for myself. But at different points of my life, I knew for sure what I was going to do, what I wanted to be. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story in the context of a conversation that I had with my nephew, Nico. Last month, I was in Singapore with Nico, with my family, and my nephew, Nico, asked me, Tita, for those who don't know what Tita is, that means auntie. Auntie, did you always know that this is what you wanted to do? Is this what you always wanted to do when you were younger, like my age, or even younger? Is this really what you wanted to do? Because I don't know what I wanted to do. I don't know what I want to do. And so he's right out of college, or a couple years out of college, and he didn't know what he wanted. And I said, I wanted to be a doctor, actually. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a doctor. My dad was a doctor, my stepfather was a doctor, my mom was a nurse. I wanted to go into the medical field. Because when you're younger, you see what your parents are and you think, oh, well, that's a great thing. I want to do what they do as well. So I wanted to be a doctor. I loved kids, so I wanted to be a pediatrician. I loved babies, so I wanted to be an OBGYN so I could help deliver babies and bring them up into the world. And then got a little bit more ambitious, and I wanted to be a surgeon. And not just a surgeon. I wanted to be a neonatal cardiothoracic surgeon. I know, right? I was an ambitious 11-year-old, right? So not only did I want to help little tiny premature babies, I wanted to repair their little tiny baby hearts. Oh my God. But here is the problem. I forgot that I didn't do well at the sight of blood and open flesh. So that's pretty tough if you're a surgeon, right? So I remember when I was 11 years old, around 11, 10 or 11, and I was in Florida. We were living in Florida. My stepdad said, would you like to watch a surgery, one of my surgeries? And I said, of course, because, maybe that would be something I'd want to do. And my stepdad was very big on showing us what he does and what they do, what our parents do for work, because they wanted to kind of explain that this is the right work ethic to have. You should be proud about what you do. This is where the money comes from. It doesn't fall from trees. You have to work hard in order to make money and to live. So that was one of the things he was really, really proud of. So we go to the hospital, and I'm all excited. They give me scrubs. The nurse tells me how to wash my hands, and I'm ready to go. And they're calling me Dr. Monica. I'm really excited and everything. So we go to the operating room, and there's a girl on the table. She's about my age. And the nurses are there, and the anesthesiologist is there, and the girl is there. She's prepped. Her belly is prepped. It's going to be an appendectomy. So fairly simple surgery if you're a surgeon. If you're not, it's a little bit more complicated. So she's all prepped and everything, and the nurses are like, Dr. Monica, this is what we're going to do. And then my stepfather comes to me and says, okay, this is what's going to happen, just to prepare you about what's going to happen. I'm going to make a clean cut through her epidermis, through her dermis, through her subcutaneous fatty layer, through the muscle. We're going to find the small intestines and the large intestines. I'm going to pull out the large intestines. I'm going to show you the appendix. We're going to snip it off. We're going to sew it up. We're going to put it back inside. We're going to sew her all up. And then we'll be done. Simple. I said, all right, let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready. So I'm standing there at the head of this patient. He's got a scalpel. One clean swipe. The moment I see open flesh, my blood from my head drains from my from my head all the way to my. I stumble backwards. I stumble backwards. The nurses catches me. An anesthesiologist catch me. They sit me down in a chair, and what seems like a very long time, I must have passed out, but it was only about 30 seconds. I opened my eyes, and they're all looking at me. My stepdad is still holding the scalpel like this. The nurse turns to me and says, "Dr. Monica, are you ready now?" And I was like, "Woman, seriously? Okay, I'm ready." So I'm okay. And so we go through, he finishes the surgery, the epidermis, the dermis, the subcutaneous fatty layer, the muscle, the large intestines, the snip, so, done. So he sewed her up, we're done, I'm okay, I'm still alive, I'm still standing. He explains to me that she's gonna be fine now. An appendectomy is very simple. Appendicitis, though, if not caught early and ruptures, can be life-threatening. And so the girl could have died, but we got there early, and we were able to take it out, and she is going to be fine. The nurse looks at me again and says, "Dr. Monica, we saved a life today." And I was like, "Thank you. I'm so glad I contributed." So that was my first glimpse at wanting to be a doctor, wanting to be a surgeon, because that was a way to save or to improve somebody else's life in a deeper sense, both literally and figuratively. And that was 11 years old. I wanted to be a surgeon. And then high school comes around. We moved to Thailand. I'm living in Bangkok now in the early 90s. And I don't know if you've ever been to Bangkok or if you knew what Bangkok was like in the early 90s in 1990. They weren't very open to the Western culture, and they didn't speak English as much as they do here. So if you walked around anywhere, it's not like here people speak English. Thailand wasn't like that. Bangkok wasn't like that. Big, huge culture shock for me. There were only 2 shows on TV that were in English, 2 American shows. That was the only thing I could watch when I was in high school. One was MacGyver. Everybody know what MacGyver is? Ah, you're showing your age too. That's all right. The other one was Solid Gold for some reason. Does anybody know Solid Gold? It's like a dance show or something like that, some kind of dance show. And those were the only 2 American shows that were on. And the thing was, I couldn't watch it straight off of TV, and it was all dubbed in Thai. So I actually had to turn on the radio for the English and mute the TV in order to watch. I know, right? Isn't that weird? But that's what I did. And then a couple of years later, while we were there, we finally got CNN. And we got Oprah for some reason. So just those 2 shows were in English, CNN and Oprah. And I was so taken by Oprah. I was mesmerized. I thought she was amazing. The way she would talk to her guests and the way she got them to open up and she got them to realize that they were better than they thought they were. They deserved happiness, and they could get that happiness if they just made the decision to be happy and take action about it. I said, "Oh my God, I want to do that. I want to be Oprah, a proud black woman who would be able to help other people realize themselves and the strength from within and to help them improve their lives." So I studied her career path, and I found out that she was a journalist first and a reporter, and then she eventually became a talk show host. So that's what I did. I would watch her shows, I would take notes of her shows, and then I would try to rewrite it into an article. And that would help me kind of hone my journalistic writing skills. So I was 16 at that time. I know you're looking at me and judging me like, what kind of nerd were you in high school? Did you not have any friends? But that's what I did. And so I was on my way to follow her career path. I was going to be a journalist, and then eventually I was going to have my own talk show, and I was going to help other people. So come time in college, I come here to the Philippines. I'm taking you around the world, aren't I? I was in Singapore, in Florida, where we were in when I was a Dr. Monica, and I was in Thailand, where I decided I wanted to be Oprah, and now I came here to the Philippines, and I went to college. I took up communication arts with the intent to focus on broadcast journalism. So I was ready to go. So I took all the classes. I was super excited. I loved all the classes that I had. I felt that I could be a journalist. I did my thesis and I did my OJT, on-the-job training at ABS-CBN and also GMA in the news division. I rode in the OB vans and we would kind of go around and try to get stories and everything with all of the reporters. It wasn't exactly what I thought it would be. It was quite different from what I thought it would be. But nonetheless, I still went on and everything because I was sure that I wanted to be a reporter. I had already practiced my spiel when I was going to be on CNN. You know the spiel that I'm talking about, right? I'm Monica Maralit from Moscow, and this is CNN. Already practiced. It could be anywhere in the world. I'm Monica Maralit in Belgrade, and this is CNN. I had it down pat. I was ready to go. But after a while, going through OJT, the on-the-job training, and I would see the way the journalists or the reporters really had to get their story. It was a lot of talking to people, trying to find a story, trying to make a story out of something that really wasn't there. There was a lot of waiting around. And there was some kind of way in which they would kind of turn a blind eye to what they were seeing. And I didn't really like that. And on top of that, my Tagalog is not great. I have an accent. Everybody at the studio said, you have to get rid of your accent. If you want to be credible, you have to speak Tagalog without an accent. And I said, that's going to be too hard. So I abandoned my dream of being Oprah. And so I wanted to be a surgeon. Gone. I wanted to be Oprah, also gone. So now I graduated from college, I have no job. I have no work, I have nowhere to go and nothing to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sitting on the couch and I'm watching MTV Real World. All right, some of you know that, okay. So I'm watching MTV, my mom comes to me and says, you have to get a job because you went to school, I paid for it. Now you have to pay for yourself. Go out and get a job because I'm going to start charging you rent if you're going to live in my house. So I said, okay, fine. My friend said, here, apply at Citibank. So I get, okay, so I'll apply at Citibank. I don't know what I'm doing. I get a job as city phone officer. They're telling me I have like 5 minutes, so I'm going to try to do this in 5 minutes. I get a job at Citibank. I'm a city phone officer. My mom is not happy. She said, why are you being a telephone operator? Do you think you can earn twice as much as you're earning today in 5 years? Honey, I did it in 2 years. And I moved to eTelecare, which was one of the first BPOs here in the Philippines. I was the 27th employee hired. My career flourished. I became a team manager, an operations manager, a client manager. And by the time I left eTelecare, where I was the 27th employee hired, it was 13,000 people. I moved to PSG, Global Solutions. There were 20 people in the company. There were only 20 people in the company, and I continued to manage operations. And today, it's over 4,000 people, recruiters and researchers. And it was not where I thought I would be or where I would end up. So where does this all? Thank you. So where does this land me after my conversation with my nephew Nico? Tita, that was a really long story, but what does that have to do with me? So he asked, did I know what I wanted to do? Yes, I did. I knew at 11 I wanted to be a neonatal cardiothoracic surgeon. I knew at 16 I wanted to be a talk show host like Oprah. And even at 20, I knew what I wanted to do. But then, all of a sudden, I didn't know. I didn't know where I wanted to be at. But I ended up in the corporate world, managing thousands of people and being able to do something I didn't know I was there to do. So even though I didn't end up where I thought I would end up, I was doing what I wanted to do all along because I had the opportunity to build other people up, to mentor other people, to inspire other people to be their best selves in a professional and personal sense. It just so happened it was a different means in which I was doing it. I wasn't a doctor saving lives, I wasn't Oprah, but I was doing it where I was. And this was the purpose of my life. The means in which I was doing it was different. So this brings me to my main point, and it's not going to take 5 minutes. I apologize, so I'm going to take a little bit more time. But it brings me to purpose. And so I told Nico, maybe there are 4 things that you need to think about. I called upon the wisdom of the Japanese. And I said, do you know what ikigai? You guys know what ikigai is? Everybody say it, ikigai! Ikigai. So ikigai is a Japanese concept. It's kind of a translation of, it is the realization of what one hopes for. And it is sort of a balance of happiness, fulfillment in your kind of everyday life, and it gives you purpose in everyday life. So I said 4 questions. 1, the question you ask yourself is, what do you love? What do you love to do? Is there anything that you truly, truly love to do? That you can get up in the morning and you could do it all day and nobody could stop you. If somebody asked you about it, you would talk about it all day. That is something that you love to do. What is that thing that you love to do? The second question is, what are you good at? So we're talking in the sense of a profession, like in your work, it could be anything. So what are you actually good at? You excel at it. People ask you for advice and you could tell them exactly how to do something. And it could be something that you are naturally born with. Some people are very naturally born as, an athlete. Some people can sing, those kind of things. It could be something that you've honed over years and it becomes something that you excel at and are very good at. And the intersection of these 2, what you love and what you're good at, becomes your passion. All right, the third question is, what's the third question? What does the world need? Does the world need something? What does the world need? What does your community need? Is it something that you could provide because the world needs it? Because you could love something, you could love to do something, you could be very good at it, but if the world doesn't need it, then there is no point in actually going out and doing it and trying to make a living out of it because the world doesn't need it, right? So you need to find something that the world needs. The intersection between what you love and what you need is your mission. So the world needs something and you happen to love it too, that becomes your mission. The 4th question is, can you get paid for it? Is somebody going to pay you for that? So you got to love what you're doing, you got to be really good at it, the world needs it, and you get paid for it. Because again, we're talking about work. We have to live our lives, we have to be able to sustain our lifestyles, we have families, we have kids to put through school, we have clothes to put on our back. We need to do this, so we need to get paid for it. Now the intersection between these needs and getting paid for is a vocation. The world needs it, you can sustain your life, that is a vocation. And the intersection between what you're really good at, what you excel at, and you get paid for, that's your profession. And the intersection of all of these is ikigai. It is the purpose of your life, or it could be the purpose of your life. And it could be something that has a lot of meaning for you. And that's what you need to find. So interestingly enough, if I applied this to Dr. Monica and to Oprah Monica, where would this fall? I would love it. I mean, I would love to take care of babies. I would love to, save their lives and all of that. But because of my penchant for blood and fainting at blood, I was not going to be good at it. As soon as I had to do surgery, I'd probably faint. So nobody was going to pay me to do that either. So Dr. Monica would not fit up here. Oprah Monica, well, I think I would love it. Definitely, she gets paid to do it, so that would be something. The world needs people like that, but I'm not sure that I'd love it because of the journalist aspect of it. There were certain things about it that didn't sit well with me. It wasn't me, so I wouldn't be able to do that. Now, corporate Monica. So this is where it all fits. It is something that I love to do. I love to create, to strategize, to build teams, to build businesses, and to build people up. I think that I'm good at it. I hope that I'm good at it. The world needs it for sure, and thank God I get paid for it. But it has become kind of this place of my purpose and meaning for life. And the more I do it, the more I am fulfilled. And I kind of go beyond just my company. So this year is going to be actually a big thing for me too. So I'm going to kind of go out and I'm going to try to author a book. I'm not going to try. Let me just put it out there. I'm telling all of you guys that I'm going to go author a book. And it's going to help inspire other women, hopefully emerging leaders as well. I'm also going to be opening up a foundation for women as well, for women's education, because I believe the more women are educated, the more choices that they will have, and the more they will build our nation. So those are the things that I am hoping to do. I went over my time, but I know you're wondering about Nico, right? Everybody's still wondering about my nephew? What's happened to Nico? It's been a month since we had the talk. He has a new job, thank God. He's in financial services, but that's very far from what he actually had started out in college, which was sports science. So again, something different from where he had started. I'm not worried. He's going to try a lot of different things. He's going to take a lot of different paths to be able to find his purpose and his meaning in life. Because the journey to finding your purpose is never a straight line. It's always going to take twists and turns until you finally find your purpose and your meaning in life. And sometimes it also changes even over time. All right, that's my time. Thank you all so much for listening.